I'm Allison. I'm the social media manager here at Marion, if you haven't met me before. So I, do all the posting for our main accounts, but I also oversee any Marion affiliated accounts. So that means any accounts that you guys might be in charge of. I kind of oversee, make sure that we're not going against our brand or other things like that. So the purpose of this is just to kind of better equip you to be able to create your own content, and just showing you some of the tools that I use that are available to you as well, that makes it a little bit easier, and just some of the knowledge I know about social media and what's working right now, and stuff like that. So that's my email up there. It's just aherring@marion.edu. If you ever have any questions or anything after this, you can ask questions after this, but if you think of something later and you need to reach out to me, that is an option. So these are just some of the platforms that, these are the main platforms that I consider and that we have here at Marion. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. So you may or may not have, one or two of those, or most of you probably won't have all of the accounts. I know LinkedIn is kind of like one that's pretty specific to just the main account. But we'll talk about different practices with each one. So I think it's important to know what you're doing with your social media first off, because if you're just out here to exist, you're gonna have a hard time coming up with content. You're gonna have a hard time knowing who you're reaching or accomplishing anything. It's just gonna kind of feel stagnant. So it's different than your personal page when you have another account, because your personal page is oh, I'm just posting pictures of myself and my friends and all of that. What I'm doing, that's your purpose, is just to kind of have kind of an album for yourself and for your friends. When you're doing it for a brand, it's different because you're trying to accomplish something, hopefully. So who is your audience? So for me, I look at each different page. So when I'm looking at a Facebook page for Marion, it's probably going to be more parents, faculty. It's going to be it's not going to be like current students or prospective students as much as it is going to be kind of an older crowd. Liz, I see.
I know who your older crowd is.
That's who's going to be the most active on something like Facebook versus like TikTok. Most users are under the age of 35. Not saying, obviously that's not everyone, but just kind of looking at who are you talking to the most on each platform. So when I look at our Instagram, I'm thinking, okay, I'm talking to current students and potentially prospective students. There's going to be some parents on there. Instagram kind of is more of a catch-all. You get a lot more of everyone. TikTok, I'm mostly going to be current students, prospective students. So just kind of depends who you're talking to. And then LinkedIn is more of a professional space. So there's certain content that I would post on there that I maybe wouldn't post on some of the other platforms because I'm talking to people in a more professional aspect. So then what is your message? So what are you trying to get across? So are you trying to get students to come to an event? Are you trying to recruit students? Are you trying to just put information out there? So I think it's important to know what you're trying to tell people. So for me, it's a lot of different things. So again, it kind of depends on the platform. So Twitter, sometimes I do hey, happy Monday, just checking in, seeing how you're doing. Whereas LinkedIn, I'm gonna be hey, this is happening at Marion and we're really proud of it. TikTok's just kind of fun content, just entertainment more than actually sending a message most of the time. Does timing matter? Timing used to matter. Timing does not matter as much anymore, just because most of the platforms are on algorithms that base everything, so it looks at a content piece and it'll direct it to the people it thinks it serves the best to. So timing used to matter, but now your Instagram feed, it's all organized by kind of what you look at the most and what seems the most relevant to you. So say I look at Marion's story all the time. Marion's story is going to be at the front of my stories. because it's something that I consistently look at. Or like my best friend's story might be ahead of somebody I don't ever really care to look through their stories. So algorithms do a lot for us. They can be super helpful, but it does take away that timing piece. So you're not gonna like, oh, I'm gonna catch more people because I posted at 5 o'clock today. You might catch a few more people if you pick like kind of a more surplus time, but for the most part, it's not as important as it used to be. What content works? So I'm going to talk about a bunch of different kinds of content and kind of what's working the best right now. Currently, video is kind of at the height of everything, just because you don't have to think very hard, to be honest, and you don't have to read anything. So it's quick, it's easy, and it catches your attention. So content creation. So just knowing your ROI, so your return on investment. So is what you're doing paying off as much time as it's taking you? So looking at kind of the stats on your pages, is stuff growing? Are you getting more followers? Are you getting more likes? What kind of posts are getting the most engagements? Things like that. So you know when it's working based on how many likes, engagements, shares, all of those things tell you how well your post is doing, really. Reels get 22% more engagement on like Instagram platforms. Again, that kind of goes with the video. All of this, by the way, is from a conference that I went to at the beginning of the year with just social media, content creation, and then talking about kind of best practices. So 54% of consumers want more video. So you've probably noticed a heightened amount of video on your feeds, especially Instagram. There's been this huge turnover into so much content in Reels. It's all popping up on your feed. So it's a way to reach crowds that you might not have on your page already. 50% of TikTok users are under the age of 34. So I think it's important to know. So for me, that tells me that it's students or gold alumni, so graduates of the last decade, or prospective students. So that's who I'm talking to on those platforms. Again, just knowing who your audience is. Hashtags are important sometimes because it just really depends what platform you're on. So Facebook doesn't really matter as much if you use hashtags. It's not going to really draw your posts to other people's pages or put it on someone's radar that you're already reaching, that's not already following you. Whereas hashtags on TikTok and Instagram are super important because that's how you're going to get that reel into somebody's view. So it's going to look at your hashtag and be like, oh, this person has watched other things with this hashtag, so let's give them this video, let's give them this content. And I mean, obviously you can search by hashtags as well, but I think it's more important in the way that it kind of just puts it in front of potential audience, helps you gain those followers. It's important to kind of switch up your content. If you're posting the same thing all the time, people are going to get bored of your account. So I would kind of just switch it up, do some videos, do some takeovers, do the flyers and things that you want to do to get people to come to your events, but also just like fun facts or pictures of students. Students really like to see themselves on social media, and that's a good way to get them to share. Giveaways are always good if you can do that in any way, just because it's a good way you can always ask that they share your profile or share the post, and then that puts your post out there a little bit more. And honestly, I've seen like a $5 Starbucks gift card does the trick around here. So it really doesn't take a whole lot. People just like to win stuff. So they'll do what you ask. They'll like your post, they'll share it to get that prize. So videos are really, I talked about how kind of important they are right now. I think vertical video does really well on most of the social media platforms. And if you were here for Peter's talk, Peter talks about how kind of with the video work he does, it's more important that it's horizontal. So a little bit different in that aspect. So most platforms, the dimensions kind of do matter. So the vertical videos just fit better. It just looks better on the site. It doesn't have any of that black space where you don't want it, if that makes sense. I think takeovers are always good. Students like to see their friends doing stuff. Prospective students like to see what it's like to be there. Everyone wants to know what it's like to be in the space, and that's kind of our best glimpse into a day in the life. Photography, we have so many photo assets on Flickr. So if you didn't know those were there, if you go to Flickr and search Marian University, it'll bring up tons of photo assets from any major event we have on campus, where you can find different stuff that will most likely suit what you're looking for. So that's a really good asset. You can always take photos yourself. Most of your phone cameras are probably pretty great. If you have a kind of modern phone, it's easy to do a lot of that on your phone. You don't necessarily need a high-end camera to do those things anymore. And this video I'll show you is actually a really good example. So I have an iPhone 13. So I know that's one of the newer ones, but I think even like the 11 kind of going up takes really good pictures and video. And you have a lot of options with like portrait or this video I shot in cinematic, and you'll see like I am no expert when it comes to video work, but you'll see how it looks really good in this video, and I really did nothing but stand there and hold my phone. So, yeah, having a call to action on your post, ask them to do something, direct them somewhere. If you want them, it's kind of knowing what you're asking of people, what you want to accomplish with your post. So if you want people to attend something, be like, hey, go sign up on Connect or things like that. So here's this. It's just a silly TikTok, but I think it really shows the cinematography aspect that you can just get off your phone. So it like kind of focuses in on each person as they come by me, which is pretty cool. I was really in there too, so I almost get like blown over here in a second. But yeah, I just think like it's so cool what your phones can do now. Your phones have so many abilities that you don't even have to be this expert to really get a quality video anymore.
Yeah. How did you get the sound behind it?
Yeah, so I'll talk about that a little bit. It's I did that through TikTok, but there's a lot of other resources you can use. And I'll talk about this a little bit too. Some of those platforms that I talked about are going to be more high maintenance than others. So TikTok is what I would call a high maintenance platform. So if you want to start TikTok, everything has to come through my office first, but before you create any new accounts. But it's just such a high maintenance platform that I would recommend maybe using it to create or using one of the other apps that I have to offer. And then either sending it to me to put on the main page or just using Reels. Because TikTok, to really be relevant, you have to post so much video content. It's really high maintenance.
Mm-hmm. I came in a few minutes late. Can you talk to me about Reels? What are Reels?
Yeah, Reels are just video on Instagram. So you can just put a video on Instagram, and then it takes it to like this whole other side of the Instagram realm that it's a little more free-flowing, so you don't necessarily have to follow people to get the videos on your feed. They just kind of show up based on what you're interested in. So it's a good way to attract different followers. So this is a little bit about our branding guidelines. So I thought this was kind of important to share with you guys because there's just some rules around some of this stuff. So we have specific logos used for certain things. So like this logo right here, if you can see my little red dot, is our athletics logo. So if you're representing Klipsch, I don't really want you to use this logo. It's not for academics. There's better logos for you that represent that. Same with this knight here. That's also mostly in athletics. So you also can't manipulate any of these logos. I've had some things where, it's fine because like people don't always do it on purpose and or don't know, but I've had like someone colored the night rainbow. It was really well done, but it's against our branding guidelines, so I had to ask them to take it down. So even if you're just making like the profile picture to an account. Try to know what, like, I would stay away from these if you're not athletics, because that's not helping our brand. And every company has branding guidelines. It's pretty normal. We have ours available to you if you go to marion.edu/marketing communications. You can go on, and we have our branding guidelines on there for you to see and use. It just talks about different places that are appropriate for what logos, what kind of fonts. We have specific Marion colors, so we have hex codes that we use to bring up those exact shades of the colors that we're using. And it sounds silly, but it's really important to kind of make sure our brand is recognized in the way that we want it to be. So I thought this stuff was useful for you. So this is just our little blurb about the visual brand guidelines. So this guide includes usage of university logos, seals, and visual marks, colors, fonts, things that, it's all stuff that you would want to kind of know when you're creating stuff. Yeah. Just because it's all being out there to an extended audience. If it was internal, it's still important, but not as important, if that makes sense. But because it's out there on social media, it's important. We also have a social media policy. So I kind of mentioned every account needs to be created through my office. That's something that I don't know that was really practiced super well, but I'm really trying to make that happen. So if you want to create a new account, or you know a student that wants to create a new account, please direct them to my office. Like Sarah sent a club to my office the other day. She sent me an email and said, hey, look, we really want an Instagram account for our club. It's a newer club. And that's fine, but it just needs to be made through us, so then we're not losing accounts. For example, we're on our 3rd Marion Maniacs account because it just hasn't been kept track of. So if it goes through my office, I have at least the email that it's rooted in, and just trying to make it something that's accessible even if someone leaves. When it's not done through my office, there's not a whole lot I can do. For example, there was a TikTok made for one of the academic groups on campus, and 2 people left. They were the people that created the TikTok, and so now it just lives and exists, and nobody's posting to it. And really, those people have access to it, and they're no longer working at Marion, so they have access to use our brand, basically. And I can't do anything about it because it wasn't created through us. So that's really important. Just keep that in mind. I'm not like trying to harsh your mellow or tell you what you can and can't post all the time. I'm just trying to keep things from going dead and needing to be remade in a different way, because there's so many duplicate accounts right now where people just haven't kept track of things. Sorry.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I've been in the Writing Center for I think 8 years now, and I think I created both our Facebook and Instagram kind of like originally through me. So would we need to like get rid of those accounts and recreate them through your office, or?
So no,
just say pinky promise I'll tell you if I leave.
So I'm working on collecting information from everybody who currently has accounts on campus. So I have like who's running it and the password, and or at least the email, so we know where it goes. I'm encouraging people to switch emails over to something that's Marion affiliated, so then even if someone were to leave, it's still in our hands, still accessible to us. Facebook, it's important that it goes through our Meta suite, because then it's controlled by our office, so we have access to all those and can control who's the administrator and things like that, because turnover is real in higher education, and it happens, and it's normal. But it's definitely become a problem in the social media area.
What's the Meta suite?
So Meta suite is just kind of the back end of Facebook. If you own multiple pages, So we have something that connects
Yeah.
all of the business accounts. So it connects all of our Marion accounts. And I believe you can add in an account that already exists to make it on the Marion account.
Okay.
So that's something we can do with the Writing Center.
Cool.
Yeah, also we definitely can.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I was like 99% sure, but next thing I know, I say it. So these are just some free resources. Also, sorry, that's my, yes, I play Mario Kart. So these are just some free resources that I think are really awesome, really good resources. So Canva, I'm sure most of you have heard of that. It is phenomenal. It's like I learned on Illustrator how to create like flyers and things like that, but Canva is just so easy, so user-friendly. I highly recommend it. You can do a lot with the free version, so you don't even have to like purchase it to really get a good use out of it. Adobe Express is one that I really like, and that's what I'm going to show you on my screen recording here. And iMovie, mostly if you have an iPhone, you can use that on your phone or Mac. It's also pretty user-friendly. InShot is an app that I've really enjoyed. I think that it does a really good job of kind of making video work pretty user-friendly. It allows you to kind of put music in the background and things. If you don't want to use something like TikTok, I know Reels can sometimes be harder to edit on the platform as well, so it just kind of gives you an alternative option for those editing tools. And then we have all these stickers available on Instagram that I think are super fun, and I just want to make you guys aware of them. And then dimensions. So dimensions are more important than I think anyone really realizes, because if you don't use the right dimensions, things aren't going to show up right. So there's a lot of times where I get photos that are way too big and I have to kind of shrink them down so that they fit in the platform. When you use the resources like Canva and Adobe, you have the option to kind of set specific dimensions. Most of these are already saved in those apps, so you're gonna just click on Instagram story or Instagram post and it'll pop up with it'll pop up the right size. So that's super handy. This little, again, it's kind of cheesy, but so this is into Adobe Express, and I literally just clicked Instagram post. It has all of these templates that I can choose from. I went super boring and created my own, and I just said hello. But you can do all kinds of fun things. I'm learning all the time. They always update it, give you new things to do. I took a random picture of a mug on my desk. Also, my desk is super messy, sorry. And I pinned it to the background, but what's really cool is you can actually like take the background of the image off. So if you have like people in it, you can like just have the people, which the new update on iPhone I think allows you to do that as well and kind of move a person around. But I think it's kind of cool that you can do it within this app as well, and it works really well. Again, you can add in like your specific hex codes. You can change the filters on it. You can add all kinds of fun things to make that work. And then just save it. You can just save it with those buttons up there, and it'll save directly to your phone. It makes it super easy to pop it into an Instagram post. These are some other ones that I've made. I did this all on an app in like 5 minutes. So definitely a super handy app there. Everyone has access to Adobe. If you want access, you can contact IT and ask for basically a username and access to that. I believe you can use Adobe Express for free as well. I think that's one of their applications that they allow you to use for free. Super handy. But if you do have the paid version, it's easier to input like our logos and our hex codes, and it just saves it in there for you. So you can have it saved under a certain brand. Makes it really easy to stay on brand with everything that you're posting. All right, so this is kind of fun. So Instagram, I think, has a lot of cool features. These are just some of the stickers that are available So we've had these designed in our office. Actually, a student drew this digitally and the fountain as well. They're really fun, and I think they add kind of just another pop to your stories. Gives it a little something to kind of catch people's attention. And people like it because it just kind of is like, yeah, we're a real thing, we're important. Kind of brings us up to the level of some of the other schools that also have those things. Gives us a little more of an official vibe, which we are. So there's tons of different things you can do within your stories on Instagram. These are just kind of some of them. I do have a video that shows you how to access all of that. This is one that's fun. It's kind of dying out, I think, as a trend a little bit. I've seen it kind of pop up again lately. But you can be like, I did one the other week that was like, drop your homecoming photos, and then people could just add their homecoming photos to that, and it would just kind of tag everybody through the accounts, which I think is kind of cool, and it spreads it, and then I can see everyone that adds to that, which is really fun. And then, like I said, there's all kinds of things that you can add. I mean, you can be like, it's a great day outside. It's 24, obviously we probably don't want Celsius, but you can change it to Fahrenheit and just put like the date or whatever, or you can have more fun with it and add a GIF or stickers, or be like, how much do you love Marion in the fall, and do like a sliding scale with the heart eyes. Those are fun too. So there's all kinds of things you can count down to events. I've seen that be really successful when people are promoting events. And then also you can ask questions. You can open it up for other people to ask questions. There's polls, all kinds of things. So I just kind of went into my Instagram account here, just in case I accidentally posted something. Just to show you some of the features. So if you go up into that right corner, that's where all of your assets are. You can just click things. I mean, Marion's its own location. I accidentally clicked the avatar, but if you want to create an avatar, that's kind of cool. I added music, so this is kind of cool because you can use all the different pieces. You can choose if you want the lyrics or the album cover. You can choose where you want it in the song on that bottom bar there. And you can choose how long too. So that's a pretty cool asset. It kind of ties you in with other stuff. For me, it's really, and then if you want to delete something, you just drag it down to the little trash can. For me, I like the music a lot. It's harder because the main Marion account is a business account, so I don't have access to a lot of music that's popular and out there and trending. But if you don't have a business account, then you would have access to those songs and things like that. You can add links, which I find really helpful if you're trying to get someone to sign up for something. It's pretty easy. You just type in the link there. A lot of times when we're doing big things on campus, it's like a certain link anyway, like some are pretty easy. Add hashtags. This is an example of one of the questions. What's my name? So you can really fill it out with whatever, and then you choose what you want to be the correct answer, and then people can click one. I know the international account did a really good job with this. They used to do like trivia and stuff, and I had so much fun as a student. It's hard to not pick one. When you see one come across your page, you feel like you have to vote or choose an answer. So definitely a good way to get people to interact with your account a little bit more. So again, this is just asking a question, and then people can respond. You can do something kind of funny, like random like that, where it's like, obviously I'm looking for you to say Marion University, but you can also ask like, hey, ask me a question. Or I know a lot of people do that when they do takeovers. They say, do you have any questions for me about the team, and things like that. So again, those were just some of the stickers that are available. If you search Marion University, just up in that top search bar, they all pop up, and there's so many. that we have on there, and you can just kind of blow them up, put them on different places on the page, have some fun with those. So captioning and comments, this is what I think can be sometimes the hardest part, especially when you're doing it all the time. It's like, what do I say? And it's like, it's not you, it's not your account, so it makes it a little bit harder for you to be like, well, I would just say, hey, this is fun, I had a good time this weekend at this thing. But when I'm speaking for Marion, it's got to sound a little bit different, right? And each account will probably have its own little bit of voice. This is an example of a caption I recently did for this video, which I'll show you here in a minute if you haven't already seen it. Don't miss the huge game this weekend, number 5 Marion Knights versus number 7 Indiana Wesleyan. Kickoff is at 6:05, blah, blah, blah. So it just tells people the basics. It's really important not to keep your captions too long because people don't want to read most of the time. So if they're just scrolling through stuff, they're not going to stop and read the super long story unless it's like really got their attention. So if you can make it short and sweet, get your information out there quickly, that's really helpful. Having a call to action, so this is just saying like go to the game. Other things might say like sign up here or donate here. So it gets somebody to do something right away so it doesn't get forgotten. Avoid engaging with negative comments. Nobody likes negative comments, but it happens. Happens to me all the time on the main accounts. Sometimes it's even just students just kind of heckling just to heckle, but it's just best to ignore them. If you have an issue, you can send it over to our office. You can send it to me or Maggie, and then we'll kind of put them in touch with, or ask them for an email. So say, hey, can I get your email? I'll put you in touch with the right person if there's like a complaint about something. And honestly, a lot of the times they won't give you their email because they're real brave through social media, but then when it gets real, people don't want to actually have those conversations. It's not that big of a deal for them. So, so yeah, if you just ask, hey, can I get your email? We'll like maybe direct message them or something, or even in the comments say, if I can get your email, I'll put someone in touch with you that can help you through this or whatever. Like I had somebody who messaged me saying that the trash down at the velodrome was overflowing, and I was like, well, that's not really Marion's stuff, but I'll let somebody know so they can contact any parks. Like, so it's like, yeah, I get that we kind of represent the velodrome, but that's actually not our responsibility at the skate park to empty the trash. So I passed that along to the right people, but it's like people just want to blame someone, and sometimes we're the receivers of that. So just kind of not getting emotional or upset about it and just passing it on to the right person. Or if you just don't know who the right person is, passing it on to our office so we can figure that out or address the person specifically. LinkedIn and Facebook, you can have a little bit longer text. They're more informational than some of the other apps. So like Instagram, you scroll through pretty quickly. It's not, it's very visual, so people don't always stop to read the comments, whereas like Facebook or LinkedIn, a lot of times people are there for information or other things like that, so they're a little more likely to stop and read a longer caption. Like I kind of showed you in the last video, you can link to external things. Instagram is the only one where you can't, in a post, actually put a link. You can on a story, but not in like a general post. In the comments, it won't hyperlink it to anything. So for there, we have a web page built that we say link in the bio, but there's other things that you can use. I think Linktree is a really popular one, and you can have links to all of the things that maybe students need to access. Again, Marion has a lot of, what do they call it? The URLs that are like designed to be really simple. Vanity URLs. Thank you. I just couldn't think of it. So like for homecoming, I was like, Marion, go for more information or for the full schedule, go to marion.edu/homecoming. That's easy enough that like people don't necessarily need to go to the bio to click that link. They can just kind of search it themselves. And And then again, using hashtags to kind of place your content in the right area. This is just your videos. This just shows that your videos don't have to be super complicated. This video has been super successful. We did it this week. Will Hunker with the Marion Maniacs account reached out to me and said, hey, we got a game this weekend. We're giving out shirts. Can we do like a video? We just grabbed some students that are involved in Maniacs and we're like, let's promote this. And this is what turned out. And it's actually one of our most liked and viewed TikToks that we have right now. And it's kind of popped up everywhere.
Huge game this weekend against Iowa. We hand out these beautiful white t-shirts that will show up. Guys,
and they had fun.
100 white house shirts. We got kickoff at 6:05. We started handing these out at 5:30. Season rolling. So show up. Let's go back there.
She's getting the ball.
So again, like they got to be creative and come up with this for the most part. I basically was like, here's what we need you to get out. And we did this in 2 takes. So sometimes it can be really easy, simple, and kids like to see their friends out there. And some of these kids are really well known, really involved on campus, so it went really far. So it can be easy. It doesn't have to be really complicated. It doesn't have to be like a professional production for a lot of these for it to be successful. And then this is not necessarily, yeah.
You had hashtags up there, and I don't ever use them because I don't really know how to use them. And so could you talk to me a little bit more about your hashtag?
Yeah, so on this post I have like whiteout because that's what the game is, hashtag Go Knights. I hashtag most things with Go Knights, hashtag Marion University. I did Marion Maniac, so it's just like who do you want it to get in front of. So honestly, this and Go was just a trending hashtag on TikTok, so I was like, sure.
Can you explain a little bit more about how hashtags work?
Honestly, so you kind of can put whatever you want. It just connects those posts, if that makes sense. So to each other and to people who are interested in that stuff. So on TikTok, for example, a lot of people do like the hashtag Marion University when they're doing on their personal pages, and it pops up on my feed because they used hashtag Marion.
Is there a way to look up hashtags that are right there?
Yeah, I mean, so when you're typing it in, it'll pop up with all the different hashtags and how often they've been used, like related to what you're trying to type out. Sometimes you might create your own. For certain campaigns, we create our own and then try and just post it on with everything, so it creates its own kind of area for people. Like Gala, we typically do. Day for the Nights, we had our own hashtag, things like that. So it just connects all of the posts to each other and to the users that are interested in them. So this is just kind of a plug, probably more for my sake than yours, but these are examples of digital signage. I know that's something that I handle on campus that is kind of tied in with social media a lot of the time. Because a lot of times you create a flyer and you post it on social media, and then you also want to post it on the digital signage around campus on all the screens. These are just ones that I've created or interns have created. Some of these I did when I was an intern here. I want you to look at this one, for example. So this was made for Instagram, an Instagram story. That's the dimensions that were used on that. And honestly, there was not a whole lot I could do about it when I put it onto the screen. So it looked real wonky this way. It looked weird if it was just in the center with a blue background. It works. It's still going to get posted, but it definitely doesn't look as good as something that kind of fills the whole space like these do here. So if you can, I kind of showed you in that you can make specific dimensions and things like Canva. If you can put it in 1307 by 1080 pixels before you send it to me, that is super helpful. because then I don't have to spend, you know, all this time trying to make it look good or just kind of leaving it where it looks not as professional, because I can't, you know, I can only extend it and mess with the sizing so much before it distorts things. So that's really helpful for me. You want to do something that's eye-catching. I think digital signs can be super fun. We have them running all the time, but you're really not standing in front of the screen for 30 minutes watching digital signs most of the time. So if you can get your point across pretty quick and easy, like this guy, I just titled when it was, what time, where to go. And then if they want more information, they'll find it. So if you can keep it short and sweet, we don't need a whole bio of the person that's coming to speak. People aren't going to stop and read that. It's just going to kind of blow off the screen to the next one. So short and sweet's always good. Dimensions, something eye-catching, and then if you really don't think you can create anything like this or you need help, you can submit a request through Marcom at that same link I said earlier, Marcom or marion.edu / marketing communications. There's a Marcom request form, and that's where we kind of can create things for you. That's the best way to get something from our office, just because honestly, it doesn't get lost in my email. When you just email me individually, it gets lost, and then I'm like, oh, sorry, I forgot about this that I got a week ago, because it got buried in my email and wasn't at the top. Yep.
What are some of the sites where we can pull images, whether they be, I know you said pictures for Flickr, but are there other places where we can pull images without worrying about copyright?
Yeah, so Google, there's a way to make it so you take any, so it's in like the tools, you can set it so it's only brings up non-copyrighted images. Honestly, if you can find it yourself, like find it on your phone or on ours, that's kind of the best way to ensure that it's able to be used.
Do we have a site that has images?
Flickr has the most. We have them going back pretty far. Maggie, not everyone, the Communic Drive isn't.
Right, no, not everyone would have access to that. But we can provide, folks access to Canto. Canto is our video and photo storage site. So if there's not enough images that you need on Flickr, or if you need specific things, there could be some opportunity for you to get access to that system as well.
Or you can put in a request through Marcom and we can dig for it and find something that we think suits you. Like I know Alana in admissions sent me a message, said, hey, I'm looking for some pictures for a thing that I'm going to. Can you find some pictures that look like this of the university? And I dug through all of our stuff and all of the old files, and I found some stuff that worked for her. So there's honestly, everything's in a lot of different places, but some things we can give you access to, some things are just for the marketing office. That's it. All right. Does anyone have any other questions for me? No? Awesome. Well, if you think of any later, like I said, you can email me. I'm also on the Marcom website under staff, so if you forget my email, that's fine too. I do have student email from when I was a student here, so try not to email that one. It has a number at the end of it. I know that has happened a few times. So, yeah. Thanks for coming.